Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Saturday and welcome to Wicca 202. This week we are going to be discussing cats, and not just because I am a self-confessed crazy cat lady, but because there's actual spiritual significance to getting into them. And speaking of cats, my own is having an episode of The Crazies and the Zooms, so if you hear any peculiar sounds in the background that my microphone might pick up on, or if you have a little whoosh of fur that goes by the camera. That's Isadora, and she's doing her own thing this afternoon. But moving on into our actual class, the reason why I bring up cats, and I bring them up first in our discussion about animals in this Wicca 202 course, is because without a doubt the animal that is most associated with witchcraft, at least in modern times, is the cat. And partly this is a remnant of ridiculous medieval superstition, but partly this is due to the magical nature of cats. And there's a meme that you've probably seen. It frequently makes the rounds on social media. And it says that in ancient Egypt, cats were worshipped as gods, and cats have never forgotten this. And I dare anyone to dispute that. Cats do seem to be innately aware of their own worth and their divine nature, and they are equal measures of regal dignity and spastic insanity. The duality of cats is fascinating, and it's a reflection of their magical nature. They are completely chaotic at times, and yet they react quite adversely to changes of routine, particularly if it's a change in the human routine that affects their cat schedule. They don't like that. Cats are both gentle and ferocious, and they only pretend at being domesticated because they find it convenient, and for whatever reason, they seem to have taken a liking to humans, at least the ones in their sphere, who also fill up the food bowl. And this spirit of cats mirrors, in many ways, the spirit of witches and wizards. You know, we like our cozy spaces and our personal way of doing things, that we're pretty convinced that our way is the best way ever to do it. Yet at the same time, we can be totally wild in the estimation of others. Many magical practitioners are loners or introverts, and yet they're very warm-hearted and connected to the people that they love, even if that number of people is quite small. And cats and magical practitioners, for this reason, make a natural pairing. And it's on that basis that it's easier to understand why legends about witches turning into cats at will or always having cats around really came about. They are a part of the mythos of witchcraft, and for so many reasons, we have good motivation to study and to understand the magical and the spiritual nature of cats. Any good documentary on cats will explain facts about the history of them and of their relationship to humankind, as well as their biology, at least to a certain extent. Truly, cats are the lions of the living room. They have changed little, if at all, from their wild cousins, and this is certainly borne out on the biological sense. You know, there's not that much difference. How do you distinguish your domestic house cat from a feral wildcat that's of a comparable size? And all of this is good information for us to be aware of and to make note of. However, in this video, we are going to focus on the mystical route. We'll begin with some correspondences to cats. The planet they're most associated with, and this is planet in the astrological sense, not the scientific sense, but it's the moon, which is an obvious association given the nocturnal nature of cats. And in the zodiac, cats are tied to Leo and Virgo. The sigil of Leo is a lion, and naturally that connects it to all species of cats. But Virgo is a more surprising correlation until we consider the persnickety personality of many cats. You know, they like their own brand of perfect, just as many Virgos do. For Egyptian deities, you might think of Ra, Bast, and Sekhmet. They're all connected to the cat. Greco-Romans, we have Artemis and Diana and Demeter. Celtic, it's Caradwyn and Brigid. And in the Norse, of course, we have Freya with her wonderful chariot pulled by cats. And magically, cats are associated with certain intentions. The afterlife, intelligence, focus, being at a crossroads, defense, destruction, dignity, dream work, enchantment, family and friendship, healing, independence, love, luck, magic of all sorts, omens, passion, peace, inner power, protection, psychic capability, revenge, secrets, perception of spirits, warmth, and of course, witches and witchcraft and wizards and wizardry. And most of these most magical associations and powers and intentions, they kind of sound like the typical day you have with a cat in the house. Now, oftentimes cats will choose to become a witch's familiar, and as we established in the Wicca 101 video on the subject, a familiar is a being, oftentimes an animal, that deliberately chooses to add their energy to a witch's work and provides the practitioner with assistance on that score. Now, that being said, it must be emphasized that the cat can choose to do this. It cannot be forced, nor should anyone attempt to do so. And also, if a familiar cat is helping us, it may not necessarily feel like help at the time. Cats act for reasons of their own. And even when those reasons are ultimately for our benefit, their methods can make that really difficult to see in the moment. It's a good idea to keep an eye on a cat's reactions if they're taking an interest in your magical work. If they don't seem to like something, there's probably a good reason for that, and it would be a good idea to pause, reflect, and stretch out your own senses. Something unseen may be amiss. Another way to work with cats on the spiritual level is through animal spirit guides, or totems as they're sometimes called. Just as witches may have specific deities they work with, primarily, they will also work with deities as the need arises that are, out of the ordinary for them. So too can witches work with the cat spirit, whether or not the cat spirit is an ongoing companion of theirs or not. Pathworking meditations is usually the best way to get in contact with animal spirits in general, but dream work can also be effective. And in this context, the cat spirit is not one particular cat, but it is a composite of all cats. It is every cat. And primarily, it embodies mystery, magic, and independence, and its energies are strongest at night. And one of the remarkable attributes of cats is their ability to pay attention when they're really interested in something. Now, when they're fascinated by something that seems to be veiled from our eyes, that requires special attention on our part. And admittedly, sometimes cats just get bored and they seem to pretend to see and to react to things that aren't there just to liven up a dull afternoon. And sometimes they are literally seeing things that we can't. This makes them ideally suited to act as protectors of the household in a very unique way. If they are playful, then whatever is hanging around is probably friendly and benign. But if the cat is fearful or aggressive, then it's probably time to do a cleansing and a banishing and rebuild up your magical boundaries around the house. Cats can be powerful allies for us, whether or not there are familiars. So it's well worth our while to foster friendly relationships with cats and to work together, at least whenever the cat happens to feel like it. So our homework for September 10th through September 16th. Number 1. Do a bit of research on the biology of cats and make some notes. Understanding cats physically can be helpful in understanding them spiritually. 2. Meditate and see if you can contact the cat spirit. Journal if you are successful and if you receive any insight from this experience. And 3. Make a point to observe the behavior of cats, your own, any cats in the neighborhood where you live, or in videos if you need to. Watch their body language and listen to the sounds they make. Try to improve your understanding of them. So that does it for this week's class. Next week, we will be talking about our first crystal of the Wicca 202 series. It will be quartz. So I hope you will be back for that. In the meantime, please leave any comments, questions, concerns in the comments section below. Or better yet, come and visit me on Gilded. The link to join us is in the description box below. The server is called Blackbird's Brew. We have been growing in our membership lately, so I hope you will join the crowd and start getting acquainted with other like-minded pagans. But that will do for now, and I will see you next time. Bye.